This message is brought to you by the Capital One Venture X card. Venture X offers the premium benefits you expect, like a $300 annual Capital One travel credit for less than you expect. Elevate your earn with unlimited double miles on every purchase, bringing you one step closer to your next dream destination. Plus, enjoy access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. The Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details. Brought to you by the Capital One Saver Card. With Saver, you earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining, entertainment, and at grocery stores. That's unlimited cash back on ordering takeout from home, or unlimited cash back on tickets to concerts and games. So grab a bite, grab a seat, and earn unlimited 3% cash back with the Saver Card. Capital One. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
This is Talkin' Rock. Talkin' Rock. Your backstage pass to some of your favorite rock artists. Here's your host, Meltdown.
Two monster guitar players on the podcast today, Zakk Wylde and Rocs. Zakk is up first, as we'll talk about yacht rock and Engines of Demolition. That's their new record, which drops on March 27th. He told me about Ozzy's song. He gave me his thoughts on their tribute at the Grammys. I got some questions from hockey legend Darren McCarty, drummer Tommy Clufetis, who played with them at the Back to the Beginning concert. We talk about that. Pantera. He had a great story that I'd heard before in the past, but I wasn't really sure of the details, but he cleared it up about Ozzy and Mr. Crowley. And, of course, I had to ask him about a Super Bowl prediction. So Zakk is coming up here in just a minute. Also, Rocs. You can watch that interview. It's out on the World Wide Web right now and at WRIF.com. We'll get into Des coming up here in a few minutes as he's got a tour in tail. He's got new music he's working on and more. But first, it's Zakk Wylde.
Hello, Dad.
What's up, dude? How are you?
What's going on, brother?
You know,
what are you doing, buddy?
I'm here in Detroit,
shaking, man?
Detroit Rock City, just getting ready for the record to drop. You know, first of all, man, thanks for the hospitality when you were in Ann Arbor with me and your friend Darren McCarty. That was fun. Oh yeah, without a doubt. Well, Darren's the best, bro. Without a doubt. Yeah, Darren wanted to know if you were still drinking the Stoke Cold Brew. I asked him to give me a question. Nothing about fighting, nothing about hockey. You want to know about coffee? Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Well, actually, with the Odin Force, with the Valhalla Java, we're already talking about doing the cold brew. Yeah. I mean, because it's a whole process. Because, I just figured, yeah, it's cold coffee, right? And they go, no. I mean, it's just how they pressurize it and everything. I'm like, oh, never mind. So, it's a whole nother process of brewing the coffee. It's not that mean you just put it in the refrigerator. Right. Well, you're probably much more of a coffee expert than I am. But anyways, dude, the record, Engines of Demolition, coming out on March 27th. I was talking about this on the radio the other day. That's an awesome name for a record. How did that name come about? Is that used in one of the songs or what? No, well, I'm a black label relationship therapist, and as you can clearly see, a lot of times on my Instagram, I'll have it when I'm in the truck, and I talk about relationships and trying to help people. Engines of Demolition, we just use that. We refer to that as just another reference for marital aids, and just making everyone's life that much better. And that's what I like. That's what I pride myself in doing. I'm a nicer. I'm not an unnicer. I'm a nicer, and I try to help people. So that's another way of me giving back. No pun intended. So, are any of the other songs on any of the songs on the record have to do with marital aids? Yes, and they have to do with, and marriage and being in relationships. I mean, like a song like Name and Blood. Right. It depends on how well that one. There's a couple references you can use on that one with marriage. And then The Hand of Tomorrow's Grave, that could be, when you put the engagement ring on, that could be right there. Summing up that title right there. And then Lord Humongous, do I need to go any further with this? No, I guess you don't, actually, though. You've pretty much touched on all the bases, right? So we've heard... The song's all about relationships, marriage, and then, broken and blind. Right. You had money and you had sight, and then you get divorced.
you're broke and blind with rage and confusion.
Right, yeah, that's exactly what I thought that song was about the first time I heard it. So we've actually...
It's a love song.
Right. So, I mean, how many of these other songs are, I don't know, Tupperware destroying Betty Crocker, whatever you say?
Taste devastation, yes. It's always about that. Okay. Why would you want to sing about anything else? Everybody always asks, they're like, well, Zakk, this is like the 12th Black Label album. What's the difference between this song, this album, and all the other ones? I said, well, of all the other Black Label albums, this is not only the new one. What we do is we usually just take the same songs, give it a new title and put new lyrics, and then move on to whatever else it is you got to do for the day.
That's a great answer to that question.
Yes, no, my whole, and people go, why do you do that? I go, think smarter, not harder.
That's right. Yeah, work smarter, not harder. That's right. When you're thinking, you're stinking. I remember you telling me that one time. And I never.
Yeah, there's a brick wall right over here, and you got a door. Just go through the door. Don't go through the brick wall.
Exactly, right. So the record
depends on how many cocktails you've had, but I mean, well, you know, right. You live and you learn.
Right, exactly. We've all been there. So there's 13 songs in this record. Obviously, we've heard Name in Blood. We've heard Broken and Blind. I'm sure there's a couple ballads on here. I'm sure there's a couple love songs that you were just kind of touching on. Give me a flavor of the rest of the album that I haven't heard yet.
Yeah, I think there's we got three mellow ones on there, but the album ends with Ozzy songs.
Right.
And, I had the music sitting around, just from us just writing because usually it's one implosion of writing. And guys come out, we do it and wrap it up and, box it up and ship it out. So, I mean, but this one, it was like in 2022, we started writing, then it was like, all right, and then we went out Pantera Celebration, figured we'd do it for a year. Then we went back out again another year. Then we went back and, wrote some other songs and riffs or whatever with the fellas at the Vatican. Then after that, went back out for another year. Then wrote some more, then went back out for another year and half a year. So it was almost like 4 years of us, in rehearsals to when we kept going. So I was just like, there's no sense of putting another record out and if we're not going to give it the TLC it needs, and because you're not going to be able to tour behind it or do anything. So I was like, all right, no big deal. Just keep writing until we get there. So, but no, we just ended it after we laid Ozzy to rest. After we did the Back to the Beginning, went home. Then Oz passed away. Cause, we were talking in between. I was texting each other, and then Oz was like, Zakk, we got to do another record, when No More Tears, when you were going through your Almonds and Skinner phase, it's like heavy but it's melodic, and I go, well, sure, well, you must be kidding. He goes, no, I'm not kidding, and don't call me Shirley. I was like, who isn't a fan
right.
of Naked Gun? Yeah. But the whole thing is, I was like, all right, Oz, no problem. So I just figured, we'll make a record in between and everything like that, and then, maybe Mom will put together the Back to the Beginning around the world, so I do one in Brazil, do the next one in Japan, do another one in Australia, do one in, all over the world, and one in America, whatever. Each year you do a different one, and it gives us something to aim for, and the money goes to charity and everything like that. So I was just like, I figured that's where we were at, and I didn't picture Ozzy passing away in 2 weeks after the gig.
Yeah, sure.
And so, after we laid Oz to rest, I came back and then we started doing, Pantera Celebration again. And once that ended, when I got home, I just sat in the library. I was looking at one of the books with Ozzy on it, and I think the Just Say Ozzy one, and then I just wrote, looking at it, I just put the headphones on, listening to the music, and I wrote the lyrics right there. And so, and my wife just kept referencing it when we were in the truck listening to it. She goes, put Ozzy song on again. So I was just like, I might as well just call it that because that's what we keep referring it to as. So, and I ended up playing the Grail on that one because Adam Fuller, who does the records with us, he was like, Zakk, you should probably play the solo on the Grail on this one. Mm-hmm. Because I was like, yeah, let me break it out. So, because that was the first song I wrote with Oz is on that guitar, Miracle Man. And then figure this is the last thing we're doing together.
I didn't realize it. Yeah, that's the first song you wrote with Ozzy, Miracle Man. Okay, yeah. Obviously they had that thing on the Grammys the other day. You've probably been asked about this, but what were your thoughts on that?
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Because I'm friends with all the guys, so
right.
it was just like, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And doing tributes to the boss, it's awesome.
Now, were you ever contacted about that, or was that something that they just kind of put together?
No, for that one, that was that one there. I mean, and then also Nuno and the guys won a Grammy, Adam and all the rest of the guys for the performance they did with Youngblood,
right?
Over at when we did Back to the Beginning, so that was great. And then, but no, not for that one because I'm going to go over to I'm going to do the Brits over in England. I guess they're having Ozzy's getting a Lifetime Achievement Award on that award show over there. So that's the reason why we pushed the tour back. The first week of the tour got pushed back. And Mom was just like, "Can Zakk show up and do this thing?" I was like, "Yeah, of course."
Now, just earlier today, I saw that there's some dates. I saw a Pantera date in Greece, but you were just talking about this record, Engines of Demolition, which comes out on March 27th. And you were saying that, you wanted to give it a little bit of TLC. So is this really, this is obviously why you're going to be pounding the tour trail coming up here before the Pantera dates in the summer, correct?
Yeah, totally. We'll be doing this, and then obviously, we're doing those 4 shows with the Metallica over in Europe, and then I think we're maybe a show or 2 of Pantera by itself, and then a Pantera celebration. Then after that, back to Black Label and everything like that.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Before you got on the line here, I was just looking through my memories on Facebook, and I think it was this date last year that they announced Back to the Beginning, because I remember I posted something about that. And do you think is that the biggest rock event you've ever been a part of? It's got to be, right?
Yeah, I guess. Also, when we did the gig in Russia, with everybody when back in '89, the
That's
Moscow
right.
Peace Festival, that was big too. So, but the biggest, the crowd wise, when I remember we did the one in Poland, I guess the Woodstock one, there was like 600,000 people there, man. It was just, ridiculous. And I saw like an overhead shot of it. It's just like insane. But yeah, it's as far as, but with the Back to the Beginning, like the significance of it,
right?
Yeah, without a doubt. It's like the Moscow Peace Festival and everything like that. So, yeah, I'm just saying, for all those bands to hook up to celebrate Sabbath, because they basically created the whole genre. So it was a beautiful thing, man, for sure.
Yeah, I guess that's what I was kind of getting at. Not like not as many people, obviously, because you only get so many people in that in that stadium. But as far as like significance,
that stadium's been the original stadium forever, and they, it's like that's Yankee Stadium or Fenway. Or Wrigley Field. They never got rid of it, and which is awesome. So it's there, and like Oz was saying, like that thing's like a stone's throw from where he grew up as a little boy. So, and for him to be doing the gig there, was the significance of the whole thing was pretty amazing.
Now, we're here in Detroit, and you played that gig with Tommy Clifetis on drums, and Tommy wanted me to ask you, who's the best drummer you've ever played with, and when are we going to jam again?
I love Father Tom. No, but Tommy's definitely one of them, that's for sure. But, yeah, Tommy's awesome, man, without a doubt. And it's always a blast jamming with him for sure, man.
Yeah.
Whenever we're doing the Oz stuff. So, yeah, without a doubt. Well, now, just be these Pantera, with the Ozzy celebrations and everything like that. So, but but Tommy's awesome, man.
Now, as far as Pantera is concerned and stuff, you're just going to keep touring, doing the celebration, or you've probably been asked this a million times, but are you noodling around with any Pantera material that you might want to bring to light coming up in the future, new music from that project?
I think, because everyone always asks me about something like that, but I was like, the thoughts of almost kind of like if Eric Clapton was playing with Noel Redding and Mitch Mitchell, and it was just like, if there was leftover material Jimmy wrote that he didn't record properly or whatever, and Eric is going to, play guitar on it and sing it. You know what I mean? Like, let's say if it was this unfinished Purple Haze song he had, or Hey Joe, or Wind Cries Mary, or Little Wing or something, and he just recorded it on a tape recorder. And, so the song's all there. It's just that he didn't record it. So I think there was like thoughts of that, if there was like leftover things, and then we'll just record them properly. But, But that's all up to, that's up to Philip and Rex.
Right.
Me and Charlie are just there to support him and whatever the fellas want to do.
Yeah, and that's great. So you got some more dates. I didn't realize you guys are going to be going back out in Greece, it says here as well, like I said. Is there somebody there with you?
Yes, that's Teresa right over there. He's barking away, doing Paw Patrol over here.
That's funny, man. Hey, I heard a funny story, and I think I've tried talking about this on the radio. You probably talked about this as well, but when you first met Ozzy and stuff, did you take him to your house and there was a poster of Aleister Crowley on your wall?
No, when we were in the studio, I had a picture of Jimmy Page up on the wall, Jimi Hendrix, and Aleister Crowley when we were doing Osmosis.
Oh, okay.
And because I got it at this Magical Child, this amazing occult bookstore, right? So I had the poster up there, and Oz was, he came down to the studio while I was tracking guitars when we were doing Osmosis with C on the other side and Perry Mason and all that stuff. And Oz was like, we were in New York City, and Oz came down, and he's just like telling me all these crazy Bonzo stories, because he saw the picture of Jimmy Page up there, and then, talking Zeppelin and whatever. And then talking about Jimi Hendrix, when him and Geezer went and saw him, it was just telling us all these hilarious stories, when they would be going out and whatever. And then he sees Aleister Crowley up on a wall. It was like a mural of him, and he goes, Zakk, who's the guy up there on the wall? Who's the bald-headed guy? And I just go, Oz, you don't know who that is? He goes, well, who is it? I go, Oz, you don't know who that is. Well, who is it? I go, you've been singing about him since 1980. And he's like, who is it? And I go, Oz, it's Aleister Crowley. And he goes, and he walks up to the poster. He looks at it, stares at it, and then he goes back at us. He goes, oh, is that what he looks like?
That's funny.
Oh my God, friggin' hilarious, bro.
Yeah, that is really funny. Man, it's just so many great Ozzy stories you have, and it's been. I love when you start telling those Ozzy stories. It's funny. You talk about Bonzo. Did you read the book Last Rites? Have you read it yet?
I haven't read the book. I saw Barb before we went back out on the promo tour. She was just showing me the. Oz talking about the Back to the Beginning gig, which was awesome.
Yeah, because he has a story in there.
No, but I haven't read the book yet.
Yeah, he has a story in there with John Bonham where apparently he was leaving the country on vacation with his family, and he gave John Bonham his drugs, and all he thought about the whole time on vacation was, is he going to, steal all my drugs?
Of course. I had to go through it. Actually, it's funny that you mentioned that story. I remember Keith Olsen, who did the No Rest for the Wicked. Keith produced that album, so. But Keith, he was friend, did all the Fleetwood Mac stuff. He was friends with Joe Walsh, did Joe's records. So Keith's a legendary producer. But he brought all this wine, thousands of dollars, probably 20 grand worth of wine over in Italy or whatever, because him and his wife would go to these vineyards or whatever. All this kind high-end wine or whatever. He ships it back to America. It's in, big wood crates and everything like that. So to keep it room, kind of cold, where they'd have the 2-inch reels in his studio, where the tape machines were at. So, because it has to be pretty cool in there, 50 degrees, 60 degrees, whatever, for the tapes, and because the machines run so hot. So you have it nice and cool in there. And so the whole thing is, he had all the wine in there, and Joe was recording. And his wife was like, "Babe, when you come down, we got some friends coming over. Grab 2 bottles of the stuff that we got from Italy or whatever." He's like, "Yeah, no problem." He goes in there, and he picks up one of them, it's empty. Then he picks up another one, empty. Then another one. Then he's going through all the crates, and he was recording with Joe Walsh at the time. And he comes in the room, he goes, "Joe, have you touched any of the wine in the back?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, I've been meaning to tell you, man, that stuff is amazing, man. Just let me know what, I owe you for whatever." And he was like, "Bro," Joe had no idea that these were thousands of dollars of, a bottle was $1,200. You know what I mean? It was yeah, Joe, it was pretty hilarious, man. But I think he hooked him up with the Hotel California guitar he used or whatever.
Dude,
but, but hilarious. I had no idea. He was like, "Oh, I thought that wine was for everybody, bro. Like it's Boone's Farm in the back,
Dude, Joe Walsh is hysterical.
2020, yeah.
He's so funny. Well, I'll tell you what, Zakk,
awesome.
2 more things here for you, and then we'll cut you loose. I got 2 very important questions. First of all, we were jamming Yacht Rock when you were here in Ann Arbor. I've got my pick, but what's your greatest pick for Yacht Rock song and album? And I'm going to start just to loosen it up here a little bit. I'm going to say it's the Gary Rafferty album with Baker Street. That's like one of my personal faves.
Without a doubt. Or you can't go wrong with anything by Christopher Cross, Sailing.
Yeah, it's good.
As soon as anybody hears that, or as soon as you hear Michael McDonald's voice,
yes,
it's lights out, game over. Doobie Brothers, What a Fool Believes. I mean, because right away people will be like, I've heard this song a million times. I never realized it was Yacht Rock. You know what I mean? So you got that, or Exile, Ambrosia. Any of these guys we're talking about right now, it's lights out, game over.
Yeah, and then a final thing here for you, Zakk. The Super Bowl is this weekend. I know you're a big football guy. So what do you got?
Well, the stats are every time a new pope has begun his run at the Vatican, the Seattle Seahawks have won that Super Bowl.
Wow, I've never heard that stat before.
Yes, so both times that they won a Super Bowl, a new pope had just begun.
Huh.
So, and there's a new pope in the Vatican, and Seattle's in the Super Bowl once again. So it'll be interesting to see if they win. And then I saw another stat that said that if the team that usually goes from east to west,
right,
to travel for the Super Bowl has won whatever Super Bowls, has won all of them. And so that would be the Patriots, because they were saying even though Seattle is, they're Seattle, where they're playing down near San Francisco, where the Niners play.
Right.
It's for them technically, they would be traveling a smidgen east.
Oh.
So that was another stat that somebody threw out there, talking about what the odds are and all that stuff. But it's going to be interesting. I mean, obviously if you're looking at paper, you would figure Seattle's going to win this because, it's a young quarterback and everything like that with the Patriots. But people are saying the soft schedule they had and all this other stuff. So I don't know. You still have to win those games.
Right. Yeah.
Regardless who you're playing, you know what I mean? So, like you said, that's the reason why you play the game. Who knows? You know what I mean? If we'll see what happens. As much as, just like when Joe Namath came in with the Colts, when the Jets were playing the Colts, everyone figured the Colts were Jets were going to get blown out, destroyed. You know what I mean? And the Jets won. So we'll see what happens, man.
Well, Zakk,
who do you got? Who do you feel?
You know what? I think I'm feeling Seattle myself. I mean,
Yeah, I think on paper you would look at they're the stronger team, but you never know.
Yeah, you got to play the game.
Turnovers, this and that, and it's just like the guys have a bad game that day. It's not a best. Like hockey is a completely different thing. Any games that's the best out of 7, 4 out of 7, you can get blown out in the first game, actually get blown out in the second game, then creep back in at the third game. The fourth game, you're just smidgen by. Then you're back to 2-2. Then, look at, when the Red Sox beat the Yankees.
Yeah.
Everybody figured whoever was going to play in that World Series, the Yankees or Red Sox, were going to get blown out by St. Louis anyway, because they would have, they were such a powerhouse, complete team. And the Yanks are up 3-0, only got to win one game. The Red Sox sweep the Yankees 4 in a row. Then it's like, well, they're going to get blown out by the Cardinals anyway. It doesn't matter whether the Yankees or Red Sox win anyway. Whoever's going to play them are going to get crushed. And then they sweep the Cardinals 8 in a row. That's insane. So you never know. Especially if it's a 7-game series. But a Super Bowl, you have one bad game. It's just like, even though you're the better team, that's what happens, man.
Yeah, they always say the fourth game, like in hockey. I'm a hockey guy, and it's like the fourth game. That's the hardest one to win.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
And now you got one game,
yeah.
right? You got to put it all the chips on the table. Well, Zakk, man, good to talk to you. Engines of Demolition comes out on March 27th. You're going to be here in town right around then, so we'll see you there. Thanks again for the hospitality in Ann Arbor, and safe travels, and appreciate your time.
All right, my brother. Great talking to you, and I'll see you in a little bit.
Up next is Rocs, another guitar player from the East Coast. Zakk from the Jersey area, and what I found out was that Des is from the Queens area. He's a real old school kind of classic type dude, and plus a guy who loves some of the modern stuff as well, White Stripes and so on and so forth. He is working on some new music. He says it's finished. When that record's going to come out, we don't really know yet. But like I said earlier, you can watch this at WRIF.com and, of course, on YouTube and whatnot. It's Des Rocs up next. Hey, Des, good to see you. Hopefully things are a little bit warmer and less snowy than here where you are.
Good to see you. They're most certainly not. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, where are you at?
I'm in New York.
Okay, yeah, that's right. You're from that. Whereabouts you at from in New York?
Queens, New York.
Okay, you're from right down in the city. Okay, gotcha, yeah. I grew up in Western New York, and people always tell me, they go, you don't sound like you're from New York.
Well, Western New York is like, it's almost like a different country up there, you know? It's definitely a different world.
Yeah, that is true. Did you grow up going to a bunch of rock clubs and stuff in the city?
Oh, I most certainly did. I grew up in the shadow of the city, and that was just like my playground. All the little venues at Dot, Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, Long Island, everywhere. That's where I lived.
Now, is CBGB's? I was never able to get there. Was that still open? Were you able to go there?
You know, it closed when I was super, super young, but I actually did play there when I was 14 years old. And I took the train to the city holding a Marshall head in my hand and a guitar on the shoulder. And I walked in there and I played at like 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And I was so young that I had to immediately leave the venue after I played.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't stay. So I get to say I played it, which is, I guess, fun.
Yeah, that's hysterical. When my brother was 16, now it's like 22 or 23, and he was playing a bar, same thing in Buffalo, and the owners wouldn't let him in the bar until they took to the stage, you know?
I think that's just such like a weird legal fiction that we kind of all go along with, that somehow you're allowed to be in a bar if you're a teenager, but then you have to leave right when you're done playing music. I think like someone just made this up 20 years ago, and now we all abide by it.
Yeah, that's right. So growing up in New York like that, where did your influences come from? Did you grow up in a family that was musical? Did you discover it somewhere along the line?
No, I was really like a lone wolf in the early days. You know, I discovered music just by going to CD stores and browsing and looking at what was cool. And whatever I brought home, and that just sunk into my DNA. I was also very largely influenced by a very strong DIY scene that was in New York City and Long Island at the times. And musically, I was really all over the place. I was like a sponge. I was taking it all in. The one thing I know is that the music I always made was never the music that was trendy or that everybody else was doing, very much to my detriment. You know, I wish I could have made music that people really went out to hear, but whenever people showed up to shows I was playing, they were there for a totally different reason. So a lot of my early formative years are spent just kind of like striking out to nobody.
And, you know, just listening to your music and stuff, a few things come to mind. You're going to probably find this a little bit weird, but there's some aspect of Dorothy in the stuff that you play, and I don't know if you've ever heard that before. I was listening to it, I'm like, who does this remind me of, Dorothy? But there's also some aspect of it being right here in the Motor City of White Stripes, you know, and so that's got to be something that's in your wheelhouse, correct?
For sure. You know, I think like those two artists represent things that are kind of immensely fuzzy and also intense.
Yeah.
And there's a sort of intensity that I always want to bring to the music and a certain personality that I hope always shines through.
Yeah, you say fuzzy. That's interesting. That's kind of in your that's in your DNA in your music, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I think balancing walls of distortion in a way that's palatable, that's a hard thing to do. You know, a lot of people can overdo it, but it's a fine line to walk, to paint with that color, but also have it come out and be like a very cohesive and beautiful song.
So who does that well?
Oh, I mean, the White Stripes and Jack White do that beautifully well. Queens, the Stone Age does that beautifully well. And then early days going as far back to like the Who had like immensely fuzzy tones, or the Kinks, you know, and they put it all in the context of really beautiful songs.
Yeah. And just when you say fuzzy, I think of the Fuzz Lord, Scott Halliday, of course, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've seen those guys a bunch of times. But yeah, I mean, fuzz is kind of like a way of life. There's many spectrums. There's many colors on like the distortion spectrum. You know what I mean? And that's one I like to paint with a lot.
Yeah. And then, of course, your influence. I mean, obviously, with your look and stuff, it goes back to the 50s and 60s as well. So your musical taste run the gamut, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, for sure. I love everything. Like it's so all over the place in a good way, in a hard way when it comes to writing because you never know what's going to come out. I wish I could be a little bit more one note and focus sometimes, but no, I'm just a music lover in every regard.
And are you one of these guys that I don't know, you wake up in the middle of the night and hum into your phone or pick up a guitar and just put something down that you thought of, or how does that work?
Yeah, definitely. I wake up in the middle of the night with like fully formed songs very often in my head. And then you kind of have this struggle, right? You're like, oh, should I get out of bed and record this or will I remember it? And you will never remember it. You always think you have a chance of remembering it, but you never will. And you'll always regret it. I also get a lot of ideas in the shower. Like I always say, I think the shower deserves like 50% of publishing on every song ever written.
Yeah, that's great. So the latest song, "This Land," it was used in Borderlands 4, I think. I'm explain this. What is that?
Oh, Borderlands 4 is a really big video game franchise. And they always have these giant opening cinematic sequences that feature a song. So the very first one in 2009 was Cage the Elephant's Ain't No Rest for the Wicked. And they always kind of look for things a little bit left of center that play to this like wild alien universe that they've created. And it was a lot of fun to be tapped in to create the one for Borderlands 4.
So you don't strike me as a gaming guy. Do you play a lot of games?
No, not at all.
Oh,
Yeah, which is funny because like I think in a sense it gave me a little bit of a distance and an objectivity that I think was probably very helpful creatively.
and then I saw Nobody 2 in the theaters, but you covered Johnny Cash, which seems like right in your wheelhouse. And tell me about that. Did you go watch that in the theaters?
No, I haven't seen the movie yet, actually.
Really? Now, see, if I'd have sung in a movie, I'd be out there the first day.
I know it's so ridiculous. I gotta go see it. But no, they came to me and they said, "We want you to cover for the finale of this movie," and they gave me two songs, and they said they're gonna pick one. One was like a Frank Sinatra song, and the other was Johnny Cash. And with both, I had serious reservations because the Frank Sinatra song, I was like, "How the hell can I Des Rockify this? This is gonna be an uphill battle." And then the second one was a song that's already been widely covered by rock bands like Social Distortion. So it's been done before, and it was very tough to figure out like how do I make it sound as if it was a Des Rock song written by Johnny Cash. You know what I mean? That was really the goal. And once I kind of figured out what that was, then the seas just opened up and the whole thing poured out.
You know, it's funny. I don't know if you've seen this. I've gotten this in my DMs a lot, but there's this band out there that does. I believe it's Ring of Fire, and they mesh it up with White Zombie, Thunder Kiss 65. Have you seen that?
No, I gotta check it out.
Yeah, and I've gotten it in my DMs a few times. It's interesting when bands take that. They were doing it live on stage in front of a crowd, and then it's like dun, 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 and then they go into the Ring of Fire. Like it was pretty wild. But no, so you don't even know where that was used in the movie. I saw the movie like 3 or 4 months ago, and I can't recall when it was used. Maybe in the credits or something. I don't even know.
Yeah, they sent me like a rough cut of the scene of the movie that they wanted in to give me kind of a little bit of a inspiration. But no, I haven't seen the final product yet.
Yeah, it was a good movie. It was fun. I don't think I ever saw Nobody Won, and I kind of went in cold, and I thought the movie was fun. That's all you can ask for, I suppose.
It's a wild ride, man. It's also crazy when you make a song like whether it's for Borderlands 4 or for Nobody 2, and you think, wow, this song just hits so hard. There's nothing that can make this hit any harder. And then you see it with the visual, whether it's like a carnival shootout scene or like a crazy alien world, and it's like, wow, this actually made the song hit harder when on the downbeat, like an alien's head is blown off. It's like pretty intense.
Yeah. So this year, what do you have coming up? I know you got the show April 18th here in Ann Arbor. You're going to be playing at the Blind Pig, which, by the way, is kind of a historic place. Man, some great bands have played there. But what do you got going on besides that this year, besides the touring?
Yeah, we got a tremendous amount of touring coming up. We have the whole new album on deck as well for this year. And yeah, I've heard so many amazing things about that venue that I just really can't wait to get there and play there. And the show is almost sold out. So anybody who's listening, make sure you grab your tickets.
Yeah. Tell me about the record.
Oh, the record is one of the greatest things I've ever worked on. I can't wait for everybody to hear it. It is just brimming with so much passion and pathos, and bringing it to life almost killed me in many different ways. But I'm proud to say it's finally done, mastered, mixed, everything off to the plant, and now it's on its way out.
And so, where did you record this record at?
We made it mostly at a place called Mission Sound in Brooklyn, New York, and also a little bit at the Power Station in Manhattan. And we recorded it live as a band, like really legit live. No copy and pasting, nothing like that. So the takes you hear are the band playing it from beginning to end, for better or for worse.
So when you do something like that, and I always preface this by saying I'm not a musician. I always hate when these sports guys always talk about sports and they get winded walking to their refrigerator. I am not a musician. So do you work with the band on these songs like dozens and dozens of times, and then you go into the studio and just do it?
Yeah, absolutely. We like workshop every element. We'll play it over and over and over again. And we'll get in there and we think we know exactly what we want to do. And then for some reason, it's just not working on tape. Like when you play it back, it doesn't feel right. And you're kind of adjusting. And then before you know it, you're on take 25 and everybody wants to kill each other and they want to leave. And then that ends up being the magical take, the one where everybody wanted to kill each other. Or the first take where you're kind of fumbling your way through the song ends up being the magical one.
Yeah, I think I want to say Eric Kretz from Stone Temple Pilots one time has told me that I think "Creep" was the second take. That was the one that you hear all the time.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, there's just some magic to it. And like, you never know where that magic is going to come from. And you can't even define it. You can't even say what makes take two better than take seven. It's just a gut feeling. And that to me is also just like such an impressive statement about the power of music.
Now, is that where you kind of rely on the producer or maybe other people in the room? Because maybe you like take three and they like take seven. How does that work?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's kind of a creative dictatorship. So I enjoy that power very much, and but no, I have a lot of close and trusted confidants and friends, and everybody does have a say, especially when it comes to their performance. But we worked with this amazing producer, Joe Ciccarelli, who, funny enough, did a lot of the White Stripes albums that we were just kind of talking about and referencing. And, he just got an amazing trusted ear, and I only brought him in the room because I immensely respect his opinion.
And what kind of stuff went into this record as far as like influences, maybe life events, anything like that?
I mean, there's a lot of significant life events that are molded into the DNA of this album, but also it's very much just in the spirit of taking a giant step forward as an artist. I feel like I've said and done a lot of things that I've wanted to say and do over the last couple of years, and now this is very much a step into a new era and to make the absolute best, most compelling music I can possibly make in a landscape that I think is just like increasingly stale and generic.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, it's like, what do you think is the next step for you to reach that next level? And I guess dropping this record would be the first step, I suppose.
Definitely, man. I mean, just to make something that I think is undeniably real and undeniably authentic to who I am as an artist. Again, for better or for worse. I want you to hear this album and I want you to say, I love it. I love it so much, or I hate it. I don't want you to have any like middle ground, like, sounds like this other artist that I know. That to me would be the worst case scenario.
And by the way, earlier when I was talking, because I know that you're really a guy who really wants to make your own path and sound like your own artist, I heard elements of this kind of stuff. And let's face it, in 2026, rock and roll has been around for 75 years or something. It's hard to find something that's completely new and different. But you do take elements from other artists, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there is nothing unique about playing a guitar or playing a distorted guitar or singing a melody. There is nothing inherently unique. There is only one thing inherently unique in all of that, and that is me and my voice and my stories. There's no other person who's lived my life or who will sing with my vocal cords. And that's the thing that I'm always kind of leaning into the most, and using everything else as these beautiful tools like the guitar and the drums and everything. I'm so standing on the shoulders of giants with respect to the instrumentation and the production. So I want to take everything they've done and tap into that same energy without recreating it.
What do your parents think of your career?
I mean, I think it's confusion mostly. I think it's so foreign to them. Like, we didn't know anybody in music growing up. I didn't have anybody who I could talk to. I just had to kind of figure out everything myself and just make every single mistake somebody could ever make in the most embarrassing ways possible. Just kind of fumbling my way through having the final product in my head of who I wanted to be and what I wanted to do on stage, but having no idea how to get there.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing with me. I didn't grow up in a musical family. My dad went to work, like everyone else's dad, 40 hours a week and came home. And my dad would have never done some of the things I've done in my life. I just went and watched Avatar a few weeks ago, and I'm like, my dad would have never done this 20 years, before my age, let alone at his age. It's like, it's just wild. It's kind of like a different generation that we've grown up in.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I also had so many, just having accessibility to venues in New York City. Like, I just had resources available to me that weren't available to my parents to pursue my passions and my dreams. I'm very fortunate for that.
Yeah, growing up in New York City, like I said, I haven't spent much time in New York City, but I did grow up in, Buffalo, and I've lived 30 years here in Detroit. And there's a certain grittiness to it that, that New York has as well, and it kind of bleeds through in your music, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, I've had some crazy shows in Buffalo. I remember playing this one place, maybe you know the name of it, but it's like a complex with 3 different rooms. And I was in the basement, obviously, the smallest possible room. And they had a pipe up top, a plumbing pipe. And obviously, that's like the lowest hanging fruit for somebody to grab onto and swing into the crowd. But they kind of wanted to preempt that. So they covered it in broken glass. And it's like the most dangerous thing you could possibly do. It's also the most Buffalo thing you could possibly do. And I remember jumping up during the show and slicing my head open on this broken glass. And I was like, there is a grittiness to this part of the state that I think is very much mirrored in some of the places that I spent my time as a kid. And yeah, I mean, like, that's just such a crazy thing. I even forgot where we started with me telling the story. But yeah, Buffalo's crazy.
No, just the whole grittiness of like where you grew up, where I grew up and stuff. It's like, there's certain parts of the country I probably couldn't live in because it just wouldn't be me. It just wouldn't be real. And I think you're kind of the same way.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I love seeing the whole country. I love getting out there. But like the tri-state area of New York City is my home, and it always has been, and it always will be.
Yeah. And, speaking of here in Detroit, though, you played Riff Fest a couple years ago. That was a fun day, a nice afternoon, thousands of people watching you on stage. I don't know if you even recall that show.
Oh, of course, I remember it vividly because there was a ski slope next to the venue, and my bass player and I decided that it would be a good idea to go for a hike before the show. So we walked up this giant ski mountain all the way to the top. When we got to the top, we realized we were on stage in like 35 minutes. So we ran down this hill like very awkwardly, and I was in leather pants and a leather jacket, and then we ran right onto stage. So yeah, I remember it very well.
By the way, I think that you're right. It is a ski slope, but I think it used to be a dump.
A garbage dump?
I think that's what happens here in Michigan. We make the dumps in the ski slopes.
That's also very New York in its grittiness, so I appreciate that.
Well, I'll tell you what, Des, we'll let you fly here. Any word, by the way, when the record is going to drop?
Soonish.
Soonish.
When the weather gets a little less snowy and cold, a new album will be on its way. And that sounds like a riddle, but it's not. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, April 18th in Ann Arbor, looking forward to seeing you at that historic venue. And safe travels, stay warm, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, my man. Take care.
Des Rocs and Zakk Wylde. I'd say that's a pretty solid podcast. Thank you so much for checking out Talkin' Rock with Meltdown. Yeah, I was just telling someone, you get Zakk talking about sports and like lights out. It's like, that's why I saved it till the end, because when I had the chance to hang out with him a couple months ago, we were on the bus for like an hour and a half, and you get him going on sports, man. He's a huge sports guy. I was with my friend Darren McCarty, who is a hockey guy, obviously from the Detroit area. And he knows all about the legend of Darren McCarty, as does his head of security, super good guy as well. But anyways, yeah, Zakk, the first time I ever met him, I was leaving a radio station in Buffalo, New York, where I grew up. And it was like 6 o'clock in the morning. I was doing the overnight shift, and Ozzy was playing in town that night. And as I left, I saw a tour bus go by. I'm like, this might be Ozzy. I better follow this tour bus like a young punk. I'm like, I don't know, 21, 22 years old, something like that. And I followed this tour bus to where it parked in front of a hotel. And the band got out. It was Zakk and I believe Mike Inez and Randy Castillo, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, Zakk talked to me on the streets of Buffalo, leaning up against the wall of the hotel for like 15 minutes. What did we talk about? football. That's what we talked about. His Giants had just beaten my Bills the previous Super Bowl. And I mean, this wasn't the middle of summer. This was wintertime for sure. And Zakk was nice enough to talk to me. Just a young punk kid out in the streets of Buffalo, New York. That's the kind of guy he is. Hey, thanks so much for checking out the podcast. We'll do it all over again next week.
Thank you for listening to Talkin' Rock with Meltdown. You can help this podcast grow by giving it a 5-star rating and writing a review on Apple and iTunes. Plus, feel free to subscribe and share it with your friends. Until next time, thanks for listening to Talkin' Rock.